کشمیر لائف کے لائیو سیشن میں آپ کا خیر مقدم ہے۔ وادی کشمیر سے کئی ایسے اشخاص نے جنم لیا ہے جنہوں نے مختلف شعبوں میں کشمیر کا نام روشن کیا ہے۔ نہ صرف قومی سطح پر بلکہ بین الاقوامی سطح پر بھی انہوں نے اپنا لوہا منوایا ہے۔ آج ہمارے جو مہمان ہیں وہ شہر خاص کے راجوری کدل سے تعلق رکھتے ہیں اور انہوں نے اپنی خاص کارکردگی کی وجہ سے دنیا کی اعلیٰ ترین جو یونیورسٹیز ہیں ان میں تعلیم حاصل کی ہے۔ ابھی ہم سیدھا برہان کے ساتھ جو ہے بیلفاسٹ سے جڑے ہوئے ہیں، تو ابھی ہم ان سے ان کی زندگی کے بارے میں جانیں گے۔ جی برہان، خیر مقدم ہے آپ کا کشمیر لائف کے شو میں۔
السلام علیکم، شکریہ آپ کا۔ میں ابھی بیلفاسٹ UK میں ہوں، میں ایروسپیس ریسرچر ہوں، ابھی میں ڈاکٹریٹ کر رہا ہوں کوئنس یونیورسٹی بیلفاسٹ میں۔
برہان، اس سے پہلے کہ ہم آپ کے بارے میں کچھ اور جاننے کی کوشش کریں، ہم کوشش کریں گے اپنی جو ناظرین ہیں ان کو بتائیں کہ آپ کی جو زندگی گزری ہے، تو آپ ہمیں اس کے بارے میں تھوڑا بتائیں۔
بچپن میں میں ایوریج اسٹوڈنٹ تھا ہمیشہ سے اسکول لائف میں، اور میری I lost my father when I was 6 and due to very poor financial situations I had to go through a hard time financially and سارا اچھا تھا، still everything was okay۔ اور میری اسکولنگ ہوئی ہے شائن پبلک اسکول، ایک لوکل اسکول ہے بدھ راجوری کدل میں، تو میں نے 10th تک وہاں سے پڑھا ہے، اور اس کے بعد میں نے 11th اور 12th SB ہائر سیکنڈری سے کیا۔ اور بہت ساری مشکلات آئے جب میں 11th 12th میں، مجھے تین ٹیوشنس میں جانا پڑتا تھا فزکس، کیمسٹری اور میتھس پڑھنے کے لیے۔ we were on a stage at that time where we even didn't have money to pay my tuition fees, so it was really hard but اللہ تعالیٰ کا شکر ہے کہ perseverance کے ساتھ اور ڈیڈیکیشن کے ساتھ we did it all together. So میں بہت ہی زیادہ شکر گزار ہوں اپنی فیملی کا، particularly my mom and my dad، اور جنہوں نے مجھے through my everything and thick and thin they supported me emotionally, financially, whatever it was۔ چاہے میں کچھ بھی پوچھتا تھا ان سے کہ I want to do this, I want to do that, academically speaking, and they never said no۔ If we look into the in any household, common household in Kashmir, and then we see if we are financially not doing great, and then we push our children to earn something to put bread on the table। But to me it was totally different। Even we were struggling so much, at the same time my mom and my dad, they were supporting me instead of insisting me to do something, so which is quite incredible, I think। So it's not a cup of tea of every person. If I were in their shoes, maybe I wouldn't have done the same thing. So I'm really thankful to the Allah۔ and اس کے بعد میرے پیرنٹس کو جنہوں نے جو بھی میں نے ابھی تک جو کچھ بھی ایجوکیشن اکیڈمیکلی جو بھی کیا ہے، اٹس آل تھینکس ٹو اللہ اینڈ مائی پیرنٹس۔
ٹھیک، یہ رہا آپ کا بچپن کا سفر، لیکن اگر ہم آپ ابھی کی بات کریں تو اس کے بعد آپ کا جو زیادہ تر وقت رہا وہ دنیا کی باقی ممالک میں رہا۔ تو بہت سارے نوجوان یہاں بھی ہیں جن کو مطلب بہت شوق ہے، وہ بھی کہیں فیلوشپ کے دوارا کہیں جو اعلیٰ تعلیمی جو یہاں پہ ٹاپ یونیورسٹیز ہے دنیا میں وہاں ایڈمیشن لے۔ تو اس حوالے سے آپ کو کیسے وہاں کی مطلب کنیکشنز کیسے بنے ان کے ساتھ؟ how you got to know about the things؟
So the thing is, when I was in my master's MTech, I was studying in Chennai. I was studying aeronautical engineering, and then I got to know one of the programs, I mean advanced master's programs in France, southern France, in Airbus. So I applied for it, and there was a scholarship provided by French government. It's called a Charpak scholarship, and I applied for that as well, which I was being awarded. That's why I went for my advanced master to France, to Airbus. Or before going to France, میرا ایک professor تھا ڈاکٹر رامانوجی چیری۔ he is an ex-scientist, and he used to work side by side with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam in DRDL, Indian Defense. So he was my professor and guide and mentor. So he suggested me that you should apply for defense first, to do some internship there in Indian Defense, so that you will get some platform, and then you can go on from there. So I applied for internship in Indian Defense DRDL Hyderabad, and then I got it. So I was there working for about a year, less than a year, and then from there I got to know that if I want to do research, if I am obsessed with the research, which I was and I am, so India is not the best option for me. It was a personal suggestion from Dr. Ramajit Cherry that if you want to do research, you need to go outside because you will expose your brain. Don't be like a frog in a well. Just explore. Don't do anything. You can come back every time later on, but just go and see what's happening. So obviously, again, because of the poor financial situation, I couldn't do it unless if I receive any scholarship, any funding from somewhere. So I always used to look for the fundings, and quite ironically and fortunately, I got this Chapter scholarship, and then I went to France. I did my advanced masters, and I liked it. I liked it working with one of those engineers and scientists in the Airbus. It was incredible to see to know their work-life balance. How do they manage their work ethics? It's truly phenomenal. And then I was very impressed and encouraged, and I wanted to pursue my research career, but obviously outside India, particularly in Europe. So I started applying for PhD in aerospace engineering. Um, my goal was to get myself into at least within top 500 universities in aerospace engineering in the world. So I got many offers and so many interviews, so many exams, IELTS, and then another exam from the university, and then interviews. So many, a very cumbersome process you have to go through, very difficult one when you apply for research in one of the nominated universities. But it's okay if you are dedicated and you really want to do something. Then एक पहाड़ भी बड़ा सा पहाड़ भी कुछ नहीं होता फिर. So it's just a hurdle. And then I got many offers. For example, I got offers from University of Auckland, New Zealand. I got offers from one of the universities from US, Worcester, from Germany, Ocean, from UK, Hertfordshire, and among all those universities, Queen's University Belfast was the best when it comes to the ranking. So my goal was top 500. So I narrowed it down to top 80. So Queen's University Belfast is within top 80 in aerospace engineering in the world. And when we talk about the university, on the university level, it's top 200. So I was really excited and more than delighted actually, because ये मैंने मतलब मेरा aim 500 था, मैं उसे कहीं ज़्यादा आगे आया. So no one guided me, no consultancy, no family, no cousin who had gone through outside. I am the first one from my family who has done a master's. I'm the first one in my family who is an engineer. I'm the first one in my family who has gone even outside Kashmir. I'm the first one in the family who has gone to Europe, for the first one who is doing research. So no one guided me. I had spent tons of hours online to search and get to know how can I go outside, how can I study my master's, how can I do research, how can I be a better researcher and get myself into one of the nominated universities in the world. So everything, every struggle, at every step, no one was there with me to guide me except Allah. So I have struggled in this perspective or in this way a lot. If there was a guide, when you have a guide and your guides you to something, and then it's easy for you to achieve because you know what you need to do and what your path is, which you need to follow. But as for me, if you don't know anything, like where are you trying? Where are you even trying to go? Then it could be an abyss later on. You need to be very careful at every step. So, and then I got admission in Queens, so which was really difficult. I just say I got lucky. There were
Mhm.
150 applicants, and out of 150 applicants, I was the only one who got selected.
Mhm.
And then, but the thing is, my funding was, the studentship was from the Queen's Economic Department.
Mhm.
So I was not really happy with it actually. मैं उससे खुश नहीं था, because यहाँ पे आने के बाद जब रिसर्च कल्चर में देखते हैं बाकी जो रिसर्चर्स है वो, तो मैंने देखा कि अम, वो यूकेआरए रिसर्चर है, आधे 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 मैरी क्यूरी रिसर्चर है, वो एक रिसर्च काउंसिल है यूरोप में जो रिसर्च फंड करती है. तो I thought maybe I should give it a try and I should apply for it, which is really nearly impossible, because once
Mhm.
you're already in the research and you have already funding from somewhere, you cannot get another funding from somewhere else, and that too from British government. It's
Mhm.
really highly unlikely. And so I just gave it a shot, and because of my mentor, my supervisor here, he is a nice guy, very intellectual. So I gave it a shot. He showed me how can you apply and all, and there were some couple of interviews, one exam. So I got this researchship, this UKRI studentship, and UKRI means United Kingdom Research and Innovation. So
You got
it's a
this
government.
recently this year.
Yeah, this year. So
Mhm.
for the very first year, uh, um, I was getting the I was getting the funding from Queen's Economic Department, but now it has been shifted to the UKRI, so, to the
Okay.
government. So
Mhm.
the thing is, this UKRI has 9 research councils. It's
Mhm.
a government agency which provides the funding. So why I'm trying to explain this, because there are lots of people. I get lots of messages on Facebook and Instagram from हमारे कश्मीरी भाइयों बहनों से कि
Mhm.
हमें भी बताइए कैसे करना है, क्या नहीं करना है. सो मे बी किसी न किसी को हेल्प इंशाल्लाह हम यही उम्मीद करेंगे होगी. सो नॉर्मली मेरे पास टाइम नहीं होता, सो आई थिंक आई शुड एक्सप्लोर दिस a bit now in order to give a little or small insights about it. How can we get
Mhm.
into the research, or how can we get into the international universities and colleges? So this UKRI is a government agency, British government agency, which funds research, different kinds of research, different kinds of fields, basically engineering, physical science, environment,
Mhm.
psychology, these things. And there are 9 research councils, and one of them is, for example, EPSRC, means engineering,
Mhm.
or we can say science, Physical Science Research Council,
Mhm.
Engineering Physical Science Research Council, EPSRC. So
Mhm.
it's a part of UKRI. Um, and there is Innovative UK. Innovative UK gives funding to the innovative projects, which are live projects, and you need to work on the live projects. So, which is my case basically. So there are so many others as well. So there were just 2 examples to let our viewers know that
Mhm.
what kind of agencies and research councils are there in UKRI. So now I was telling you about the process of this
Mhm.
studentship, and then I applied for it. It was a live project.
Mhm.
It's a joint venture project between UK government with
Government.
uh, yeah, with UK government
Mhm.
with few companies, Bombardier, Artemis Technologies, and Belfast Harbour. So
Mhm.
what they are trying to do is they are trying to study and manufacture zero carbon emission vehicles. But zero carbon emission vehicles obviously means कि जहाँ पर कोई carbon emission ना हो, और basically हम वो electrical supply देते हैं और
Mhm.
electric energy देते हैं into the engines. So uh, ये electric propulsion system हम technical language में से कहते हैं. So electric propulsion system, to implement the electric propulsion system in aerospace sector. So, for example, there's an aircraft or there's a spacecraft. How can we make it? How can you make it zero carbon emission emitted? So it's a commercialized project. The very first stage is they are trying to commercialize it within 4 or 5 years in UK in a way of cruise ships, maritime industry. That's the first step, and then the next step is to commercialize in aerospace sector. So this live project, they're already working on it, and they have been already working on it. So I was put in the middle in the structural research department. So my work is basically on fatigue and fracture mechanics. So it's basically about the structure of the aerospace vehicle, how the crack initiates, and then how it propagates. Just a little bit background. Yeah. So I got the studentship then with UKRI, and it's worth of millions. Yes, it is worth of millions. In rupees, not in dollars.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's about it.
Okay. So most of the education which you have pursued in your life, scholarships played an important role in it. Can you just
Obviously,
count
yes.
the number? How many scholarships you get so far from the basic education?
I think if I count from university level, 1, 2, 3, 4.
4 scholarships.
Yes.
Okay. So
One
whenever
was
a
university
student,
level, and second 2 university levels, third master level, and
okay.
then fourth PhD level.
So whenever a student who particularly see the region of Kashmir, he lives here. So whenever he thinks to go outside for pursuing their career in different fields, there remains 2 major things. One remains the family, and another remains the financial constraints which a person faces. So probably you two were the that these two things remain with you as well. So what do you say? What do you say? How to cope up with these things?
I would say that whenever I get a chance to talk to people, to talk to youngsters who are very keen and enthusiastic about the studies, about the particularly physics and mathematics, so I always try to encourage them. I always try to, in a way, insist them and try to change, make their heart and mind change about these 2 issues. Why? Because I say my perspective is, if you're so dedicated and so loyal to your dream, nothing can come along. The thing is, it's a matter of it's a matter of you need to just convince your parents, and you can do that. I personally believe it. No matter how hard the matter is, no matter how difficult it is, you can make them understand, unless it is reasonable. Yes, of course. So unless if it is flexible as well. For example, if you are alone in your family, then there are lots of other parameters you need to consider before leaving home. Obviously, you can do that again even if you are a single child, but you need to consider at least other parameters as well. And the second thing is financial constraint, as you mentioned. I currently, at the moment, at this very moment, I'm guiding 4 students from Srinagar, particularly Kashmir, who wants to pursue their bachelor's degree outside in Europe, and that too in one of the prestigious universities. And this was their main concern and the very first question: how can we hurdle the financial constraint? And my answer to each student was, that is not your business. That is my business. You just, you just, you just start doing the research, and I will do it for you. So the point being here is, it's not a big deal to find any scholarship
Mm-hmm.
or any funding, external funding, as long as you know it, how to do it.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So
So awareness plays an important role here.
yes, exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just, if you know, for example, many people are going to Germany. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
particularly for education, when it comes to free education. So Germany
Mm-hmm.
is all about free education. There is a single one portal called DAAD, DAAD, for Germany. If you go to
Mm-hmm.
the DAAD, just single one portal. No matter what university you want to go in, no matter what field you want to go in, no matter what kind of education, university level, master's level, PhD level, whatever, everything is there through one single portal.
Okay, so
So
there are no
it's a
multiple
basic thing.
links.
No.
Yeah, there is
So
a single window for all the things.
exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
when there's a single window for all of these things, and then they direct you through the German
Mm-hmm.
government to the particular universities, and then they
Mm-hmm.
show you. See, if you want to go for the ocean, there is 500 euros per year, and which is
Mm-hmm.
nothing basically. So there are a couple of more other universities who they have like 8,000, 9,000 euros annual fees, but there is always a scholarship from the government, or the fee waiver from the government to maximum universities, to maximum fields. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, imagine a student which has no idea about it, and he wants to go, or she wants to go to Germany for studies, and
Mm-hmm.
imagine the struggle that student must go through when they don't know about the art. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously, आपकी बात बहुत अच्छी लगी मुझे कि it's a matter of awareness. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just for example, take New Zealand and Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So New Zealand and Australia, if you take this Oceania, and most of the universities there, you need to apply for the scholarship within the university, not through the
Mm-hmm.
government. They have fundings for projects. So, for example, if you tell them what you need to do, so it's your idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
when it comes to research, obviously, um,
Mm-hmm.
not the studies at university level. So when you have an idea, and then you put it on a paper, you write a very good proposal about it, the
Mm-hmm.
methodologies, how you want to do
Mm-hmm.
it, what will be the implications, what is the novelty.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you write all of these things on a piece of paper, and
Mm-hmm.
then send it there. If it is really novel, trust me,
Mm-hmm.
they will get back to you. They will get back to you, and they will ask you to join them.
Okay.
So I haven't seen any kind of indiscrimination so far anywhere, when it comes to particularly academics.
Mm-hmm. So it purely
And
depends upon the kind of idea which a student brings.
yes, when it comes to research, but when it comes to the let's just say university level studies,
Mm-hmm.
then there are a couple more other parameters which you need to consider. For example, you need to write your statement of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
statement of purpose is where you need to explain um, what excites you, what have you done, what have you done in your life, like some events where you can
Mm-hmm.
mention that what excited you, and why do you want to come here, and why did you choose this field. So you need
Mm-hmm.
to write all of these things down, and then you need to apply. Obviously there is application, which you will need to follow up. But the point being here is, it narrows down to the concept that if you are interested and you know what you want to do,
Mm-hmm.
the university will never reject you. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
there will be competition. If you're a university level student, there are maybe 10,000 students who applied. Only 100 will get selected in a particular university, and
Mm-hmm.
then you need to organize yourself. What is my goal? How the goal being here is to get selected. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what are the processes? The very first process is, for example, I should have this much of a percentage of marks in my 10th, 12th. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, If you have that, obviously that's the first thing. If you have that, you go to the next step. The next step will be the interview and the process. I mean, maybe exam, IELTS, all of these things. So
Mm-hmm.
what I would say is you make a flow chart, and then you make step-by-step flow chart, and then you dedicate yourself to every single step at a time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it becomes so easier when you break it down into a number of steps and you concentrate individually at each step. It's not so difficult to do. You don't need to be a genius to do it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just if you know uh, how to do it. Again, if you know how to do it, it's not difficult.
Okay.
So it is a matter of awareness. Yes, I agree. At every stage, whether it's a university level or it is a
You talked about the hard work, and most of the times it's a matter of luck. So how will you see it? What was the ratio of hard work and luck? And now being on this position in this state, how is the feeling of parents now?
um, the first thing is, yes, obviously I uh, I treat myself as lucky,
Mm-hmm.
because I still don't think that I deserve this position, because seeing other researchers around
Mm-hmm.
at workplace from different parts of the world, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they are literally like geniuses, all of them. And
Mm-hmm.
then and the way I look at myself is like I need to do a lot of hard work to get to their position. I mean, to at least to catch them up. So so I would say yes. Obviously, it was there was a pinch of luck, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And when it comes to hard work, um, I would say that I'm not a hard worker, but all I see myself is like the foundation, the
Okay.
foundation, the
Mm-hmm.
fundamentals which you do, the fundamentals of that particular job. You need to
Mm-hmm.
understand that no matter what. So if you don't know the fundamentals, or whatever the job it is,
Mm-hmm.
whether you're a doctor, whether you're an engineer, whether you're a shopkeeper, it doesn't matter. Unless you don't know the fundamentals of the particular job, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot get hold of it.
Exactly.
So
Mm-hmm.
if you know the fundamentals, like you know how the things work at the fundamental level, so I don't think you can face any hurdle or
Mm-hmm.
obstruction along the way. So I think that happens with me. I wouldn't say that I am a hard worker, that I did hard work. Obviously, I did my hard work, but not that kind of hard work that I deserved this position. But I would say is my fundamentals were clear. I had
Okay.
concentrated and focused and spent a lot of time in my early university career. I mean, in my early
Mm-hmm.
university years, a lot of time on fundamentals. I
Mm-hmm.
think which paid off now.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
That was the reason for me. And the family, as far as family is concerned, they are really happy, as am I. And I still have my support from my family,
Okay.
and I love them all.
Mm-hmm.
It's very important to have moral and emotional support from your family,
Okay.
uh, particularly when you're outside doing something, job,
Mm-hmm.
study, whatever. So it's really important to have them at your back.
Mhm. So, as far as the education system is concerned, you have studied here till you cleared your MTech and all basic education. So, how different you see the academic structure in Belfast and in comparison to Kashmir? Uh,
I
how
think
different is it?
I think they are poles apart.
Mm-hmm.
Literally poles apart. The education system, the architecture of the education. I always say, whenever we talk to people or we discuss about the education structure of Kashmir, I think we need to work on it. We need to make
Mm-hmm.
it better. I mean, there are lots of things which we need to comprehend on. And for example, student life here is like They pressure you through the weekdays to work just for 8 hours or
Mhm.
7 hours, and those 7 or 8 hours of time includes your lunch, your recess, your labs, your classes, just 8 to 9 hours. And then imagine this amount of time, 8 to 9 hours into 5. Let's just say, even if it is 8, 35. At last, it becomes 35 to 40 hours a week.
Mhm.
And then they give you time to concentrate on your mental health. Saturday, Sunday, no work.
Mhm.
So I think this is one of the major things which we should concentrate on in Kashmir, because our
Mhm.
mental health is becoming worst. There are
Mhm.
lots of cases. There are which is going in exponential growth
Mhm.
in students, and which are complaining for the mental health. Uh, and this is one of the main reasons which I always say that we should think about it.
Mhm.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is, here, the education at school or the university is like a give and take thing.
Mhm.
You give me
Mhm.
something, and I give you back something else.
Mhm.
So it's they don't treat it. They don't treat. They are not emotional towards their job. So what
Mhm.
I'm trying to say is, for example, even if you look in Kashmir, in any of the schools,
Mhm.
so we get emotional towards our job,
Mhm.
and then what happens? Sometimes we lose our temper,
Mhm.
and but here, particularly ये जो होते हैं teachers, वो क्या करते हैं? It's their job. They teach, they go. So it's a
Mhm.
responsibility of the student whether they learn it or not. So they don't
Exactly.
push them. They don't push them physically. They do push them by some other means. You know,
Mhm.
they ask them, see, if you don't have 80% attendance, you're not gonna be able to sit in the exam. So they
Mhm.
need to have 80% of attendance. So
Mhm.
which means they need to come to the class.
Mhm.
So when they need to come to the class, even if it is a single thing which you hear
Mhm.
from teacher in whole class, it should be enough for you. And you keep that one single word, one single concept in your brain. On the long run, it's gonna help you. So
Mhm.
they make them study without insisting them.
Mhm.
So see the educational structure. It's so interesting to look at it, and then you see, if you ask any student, no one will say that I am being forced.
Mhm.
Everyone will say the system is forcing, not the teachers. See the difference.
Mhm.
The system is teaching, not the teachers, or the
Exactly.
system is insisting, not the teachers. So
Mhm.
they whenever, even if someone has to blame, they blame the system,
Mhm.
not the person who teaches them. So
Mhm.
on the long run, it impacts drastically on your mentality regarding the
Mhm.
education, if you think about it. So which is very interesting when I realized it here. So
Okay.
I think there are so many other things as well which we need to concentrate on.
It will take a long
Like,
time for
yeah,
for a
yeah,
developing country
yeah,
to compete with it
yeah.
finally.
Obviously,
Uh,
obviously, obviously.
let's come back to your. I would like to ask you one question regarding to this struggle. There remains ups and highs, ups and downs.
Hmm.
One feels sometimes there are rejection and there is acceptance. But whenever it comes to the failure, a person or a student, whether pursuing in a different field, gets demotivated. So, did you face it anything like?
I mean, as for me, I never got demotivated. I
Okay.
don't know why. Maybe because it was from Allah. I was always motivated, always concentrated.
Hmm.
It's like it was like ये एक जिद थी मेरी. It was an obstination. You need something, You want something, you need to have it, no matter what.
Mhm.
So, ना, जो एक
Okay.
छोटा सा बच्चा होता है वो बोलता है नहीं मुझे वो चाहिए, ये चीज़ चाहिए, जब तक वो नहीं मिलता उसे तब तक नहीं चैन, उसकी
Okay.
मोटिवेशन वो तब तक खत्म नहीं होती.
Mhm.
So I would say you need to be a child towards
Okay.
your dream. If you are a child, you need to be so much opportunate towards it that not even you can help it, not even you can remove your motivation.
Mhm.
Because even if it is not a dream of yours, you need to make it
Mhm.
your obsession. If your
Mhm.
obsession, maybe there's a possibility you can get there.
Okay.
And you need, there is one more thing. Obviously, it will not work with all of the people because different people work different ways.
Mhm.
I mean, mentally. So you need to refresh your mind. You need to refresh your mentalities towards your dream. You
Mhm.
need to get back to that basic
Okay.
idea which motivated you in the first place. You need to
Mhm.
get back to that idea again and again and again and again till you achieve it.
Okay.
Because it's like a cloth, it fades away. The color fades away
Mhm.
with time. You need to refresh it. You need to you need to dry clean it, and which is obviously true. Which we just need to do.
Okay. So my last question will be, but before asking you the last question, I would like to say you we are going through the 40 days of harshest period of Chilai
Yeah,
Kalan.
Kalai
You
Kalam.
may know about it. So just at the end, give some warm words for the youth of Kashmir.
I always say that just the knowledge and the success isn't everything.
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple more other things as well which we need to ask.
Mm-hmm.
Along with knowledge, we need insight.
Mm-hmm.
Insight of that knowledge, the reality of the knowledge, which the education demands.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a lots of difference between education and degree.
Mm-hmm.
I can show you the people with the degree, university degree, but they are stupid. And I can
Mm-hmm.
show you the people with no degree, but they are intellectual. So
Mm-hmm.
we have um, misconcepted the education with the degree.
Mm-hmm.
They are
Mm-hmm.
totally different things.
Okay.
So what I would say is we need three things basically. Knowledge, we need knowledge, and we need an insight of that knowledge, which will make us understand the reality behind that knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And then third thing, we need integrity,
Mm-hmm.
which I would say understanding of what is right and what is wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can comprehend this integrity as you can say it as a simple deeds, good deeds.
Mm-hmm.
So amal, faham, to ilm.
Mm-hmm.
These three things are important and they go together.
Mm-hmm.
And we should concentrate not just on knowledge, but insight and deeds as well together. So this is my personal experience so far that if you have these three things in your hand, so
Mm-hmm.
inshallah you will be successful one day and you will get there what you need to do and what you want to do in your life.
Okay. So it was really nice to talk with you, and I thank
Thank
you
you.
for your time. Inshallah, we'll see you soon.